I'm going to walk you step by step on how to stop losing as a day trader. Now, sometimes we always talk about profits, and some people are in a rut and they just keep losing and they can't figure out why. So I'm going to walk you through my step-by-step strategy to stop losing in day trading. And I've had 7 years of experience trading futures, and I've traded in prop firms, and I've traded in my own live account. So I want to take you through my strategy and what I would do if I was in a rut and not making consistent and profitable trades. So we have our charts up here, and this is kind of the step-by-step strategy that I'm going to cover. So first off, we want highly profitable setups. Now, if you've watched my video, my 90% win rate trade strategy, then you'll see that I use the same strategy over and over again. Rinse and repeat. It's super boring. And I'm going to walk you through what that looks like. But what I would do on a daily basis, I think, is what sets me up for success. Now, you can execute trades willy-nilly, and you might see some success. You might even have one of your biggest days ever. But you might also have a catastrophic day where it blows your account, or you have a day where you made a bunch of money and you just kept trading and then you ended up losing those profits, right? And sometimes that hurts more than just taking a loss, because you're like, I knew I had $3,000 in profit. Why did I trade? And now I ended up with $1,000 loss. And now that's when the mental breakdown happens. It's like, okay, well, I made $3,000, now I have negative $1,000. That means I lost $4,000. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I lost $4,000. So let's get you to stop doing that. And one of the reasons that people do see those kind of losses is they don't have risk management set up. What are you risking? Are you risking 1% of your account? Like if you have a 50K account, 1% is $500 per trade. If you have a 100K account, 1% is $1,000 you're risking, right? 1,500 would be for a $150,000 account. And it goes on, right? You just do simple math of timesing percent by whatever you have in your account. Even if you have $25,000 in your account, okay, $250 per trade, right? And futures probably isn't for you. I would do options or stocks, because the entry and the barrier to entry and the price that you need is going to be a lot more advantageous for you, right? Futures, you do require more margin, and if you have a smaller account, options are probably for you, not futures. But if you're trading in a prop firm, then futures are your option. There are other prop firms that do allow stocks and options and even futures, but primarily you're going to see Forex and futures, and we trade futures here. So what does your risk look like? Now, I've gotten challenged on having a $500 risk per trade on a 50K account. Yeah, if you have a 50K account and you're in a prop firm, your max loss is $2,000, and that means 4 times in a row you could lose, right? But that's why we take high probability setups, like I'm going to show you here, and I go through a checklist every single day and this is what I look for. So let's move this right here so you can still see it. So first, I start on a higher time frame, like the daily chart. So this is not my traditional setup on what I do for my charts, but I just detached this one so that we can look at this time frame and then also compare it with our checklist. So I like to look at the time frames of the daily chart first and to see where we are. And we've broken through a bunch of different support levels here in the last few days, this being the last one. And now we're looking at this being a zone, support zone, which is now going to be a resistance zone because we've been in such a downtrend. So we like to look at, okay, where are our zones on our daily time frame? This is another zone now, right? And you can see it came up into this and then traded back through it. And so what we're looking for is how it's going to respect that. Okay, so you understand what we're looking at on a daily time frame, that this was a support zone, and now since we broke through this, it's now a resistance zone. Okay, if we get a close, one thing that we're looking for, if we're looking to reverse the trend, and this is a big thing that we haven't really seen in some of these other candles the last few days, is a close above the high of the, a close above the low. So if this was the low, we're looking for a close above this. If we get that, then we could see a potential reversal. But we keep seeing these closes where they'll wick up and then they'll close, and like this is close below this resistance. We're actually close like right at it, which is pretty crazy. So came into this resistance zone, came up, hit our trend line, which we made on our 1 hour, and then it fell. So we had a squeeze on our daily. We used our resistance zone here weeks ago, almost a month ago now, and it fell, and then this squeeze fired. We like to look for like 7 dots. So right now we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Wow, okay. 15. So this thing has just been in an absolute downtrend. And when you see a squeeze fire, you don't want to fight the momentum. The momentum's clearly down. So yeah, could you have scalped some of these wicks where it looked like it was low, hit the low, and then it shot up into a support zone? Absolutely. But in the mornings, the shorts have just been absolutely killing it. They make their move down, and then later in the day, it kind of like will trickle back up. So, number one, what does my higher time frame look like? The daily is still bearish, and I also know where some of my support zones are. So when you get down into these lower time frames, it starts making a little bit more sense. Like, why does it come to this level and then drop? Why does it come up here and then fall back into this zone? Okay, and then with this trend line, why does it come up into this area and fall, and then it falls and then retraces, and then are we going to see another dump to the downside? And where's that target going to look like? So I'll look at my 1 hour time frame, and then I go into the 15, and this is where I like to chart or draw my lines. So, and I'm just going to use these boxes for now, just so that you can see them a little bit better. So like this is the low, right, of this 15 minute. Now this is aftermarket, so what we're looking for, and then this would be, this is obviously the low, but a 15, if we get it to break this, which I doubt it would because it's going to come right into that trend line, then we could see it pop. And if it closes above this and closes above this trend line, then we're going to see a lot more momentum to the upside, and it'll probably come into this zone. So we mark both sides in the morning. So I know what my higher time frames are doing. I know where the trend is, which is lower. And then do I have a squeeze? And I do. We had a squeeze on the daily to the short side. We have a squeeze on the 15 minute, and the momentum is down, right? So what we would look for is a break of this lower level to then come test these lows. That's 300 points, almost 300 points. And then if it breaks these lows, then we're looking here, right? So like we could go, let's do just a Fibonacci on just on this last high and low. So this is a support zone potentially if it pauses, and then if it breaks the 7, 8, 6 level, I'm pretty much looking for it to target the 1272, which would be down here. Okay, so now I'm aware of where my charts are, and the moving averages on this 15-minute chart are all over the place, right? There's not really a direction, and we actually didn't really talk about the ones on the hour. So they're not, they're kind of jumbled up, right? What we ultimately like to see is the 8 below the 21, below the 200. But again, this is that same thing where we'll see like a drop in the morning and then it will retrace, a drop in the morning and then it kind of retraces, right? This was news. And so what we're looking for is these moving averages to potentially, if we're looking for a short, that is, if we would want to see them cross and then have the 8 below the 21, below the 200. Same thing with the 15. The 8 actually is crossed back below that 200 right now. And then we want to see them again, just stack to the downside. And then same thing on the 5-minute chart. We have a squeeze here too. Okay, so the 5 minutes when I execute my trades. I like to use the 5-minute chart to enter my trades so I can see when we get a close below or above a key level. And once we get that close, sometimes we'll just see just a plummet, right? Sometimes we'll see a break and then a retrace back into our level, and then it goes back down, all right? So just, we gotta take what the market gives us. A squeeze helps us get one of those bigger bursts that just drops like crazy. As you can see here, we had a squeeze and it fired short, and we just see a huge move, right? This one, squeeze, fire short, boom, get a pretty solid move down. And the high here was 722, the low here 529, almost a 200-point move. This did actually fire after the fact. So, but we got this moving average cross and it dropped, but this wasn't really our setup. So what we're looking for the setup now, right? We have our high, our low, resistance, support, see it break below, retest, and then come back down, okay? So those are the things I like to look for. What are the higher time frames looking like? Where's the trend? Do we have squeezes on these charts, these time frames that we have to look at? Where are the EMAs stacked? And an A+ setup for me checks all those boxes, right? And we break the key level that we're looking for, whether it's support or resistance. And extra confirmation is a retest, like it comes through it, retest, and then bounces. Retest, comes to it, breaks down, right? So that's my step-by-step checklist of what I like to do. If you want to copy this, I'll put this in the notes or the description or even the comments. And you can use this checklist so that when you're going through your pre-market analysis, you can look at this as well. So if this is helpful, subscribe, like the video, and if you want to see more videos, something that I didn't cover, leave a comment.